Coming up by the end of the weekend, only 4 teams will remain in the hunt for the Super Bowl. This is Locked On Now NFL.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Now NFL, local experts on the biggest stories throughout the league. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Our Locked On NFL hosts are here to give you a preview of the NFL's divisional round. Let's start in Kansas City, where a rematch of last year's AFC Championship highlights the weekend slate in our biggest game.
The biggest game.
The Buffalo Bills are going to get another chance at the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. Buffalo lost to KC in the AFC title game last year, but Bills fans probably hoping that this weekend's game goes a little bit more like the regular season matchup this year when Buffalo dominated. Our Locked On Bills host says the key to Buffalo getting a win and getting over that playoff hurdle is to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
I'm Joe Marino, host of the Locked On Bills podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And I'm here to tell you what the number one key for the Buffalo Bills is against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. And that key is pressure on Patrick Mahomes with 4 rushers. Patrick Mahomes dominates the blitz. He is unbelievable when you choose to blitz him. He shreds you apart on defense, so you have to get pressure on him with 4 rushers. And if you get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, he becomes a worse quarterback. His completion percentage drops 40%. His passer rating drops 50 points, and he loses 1.8 yards per attempt. It is critical to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes with 4 rushers. That way you can keep 7 players in the secondary to improve your spacing on the back end and really clog up those windows for him to work the football. For more on the Buffalo Bills, don't miss the Locked On Bills podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, free and available on all platforms.
The San Francisco 49ers have had Aaron Rodgers' number when it comes to the playoffs. The Green Bay quarterback has never beaten San Francisco. He's 0-3 against them in the postseason. So how does Rodgers do one of the few things that he's never done? Our Locked On Packers host breaks it all down.
Start fast. That is the key to victory for Green Bay against the San Francisco 49ers on Saturday night. I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers, and much has been made about the defense for the Packers in playoff games. And to be sure, in each of the last 2 playoff exits, the defense has not played well enough. But consider this. In the NFC Championship games the last 2 seasons against the 49ers and the Buccaneers, the Packers scored a combined 10 points in the first half. Yes, they allowed 48, but you still have to score to win. On the other side, in the divisional rounds, games they won, they scored a combined 40 points in the first halves of those games, especially in a matchup against the 49ers, where the 49ers might be wanting to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, who's coming in with a banged up thumb and throwing shoulder in what could be frigid temperatures. The Packers are going to want to force Jimmy to make plays, not Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, and a running game we know Kyle Shanahan is going to scheme up. If the Packers can get out to a lead, can start fast on offense, put up some points early, they keep the pressure on, and their offense becomes their best run defense.
The Titans are back and healthier than ever, and Tom Brady continues his title defense with Tampa. This is Locked On Now NFL. This episode of Locked On Now is brought to you by Bet Online, the number one spot for all of your online betting needs, especially now that college basketball is underway and, of course, the NFL playoffs as well. If it's props, odds, whatever you want to do, they have you completely covered. If you sign up today, you can receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. Again, you can get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit by using promo code LOCKEDON. Welcome back to Locked On NFL. I'm Kainani Stevens. Thanks for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. Let's hear more from our Locked On NFL hosts to preview the rest of the NFL divisional round.
Let's go around the league.
Good news for Bengals fans. Cincy got their first playoff win in more than 3 decades last week, but they still have never won a postseason game on the road. Our Locked On Bengals host tells you the key to making franchise history against AFC's top team this weekend.
Can the Bengals record their first road playoff win in franchise history? Hi again, everyone. I'm James Zerpine of the Locked On Bengals podcast, and that is the question going into Saturday's divisional round matchup between the Bengals and the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. The Titans are the number 1 seed, and the key to victory for the Bengals, well, it's simple, and it's going to probably be a consistent theme throughout these playoffs as long as this team is alive and continues to advance. Keep number 9 upright. With the way Joe Burrow is playing, and he's playing among the best, if not the best, at the quarterback position over the past 5 to 6 weeks, is just playing at such an unbelievable level, that the Bengals need to keep him upright. And if they do, what he's shown is he's going to make the right decision. He's not going to turn the ball over, and he's going to produce big plays if that's what the defense allows, or he's going to take the short game and let his weapons, whether it's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, CJ Uzomah, do what they do, which is score touchdowns. The Bengals have fared really well. They're 4-0 in Burrow's last 4 starts, and if they keep number 9 upright, I think they have a good chance to escape Nashville with a win. For more on this game, make sure you check out the Locked On Bengals podcast.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue their Super Bowl defense by hosting the LA Rams this weekend. And the key to getting Tom Brady another Super Bowl ring, or at least to the championship game, may be a little bit obvious, but Locked On Bucs believes that Brady-Gronk connection is going to pay dividends and could send Tampa to the next round.
For the Buccaneers to book another trip to the NFC Championship game, they need classic Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm David Harrison of the Locked On Bucs podcast with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers key to victory. The Los Angeles Rams are allowing the highest completion percentage on short passes over the middle this season, and Tom Brady has one of the quickest releases in all the National Football League against the Philadelphia Eagles. Tom Brady got the ball out less than 2.2 seconds on average per passing play, and to exploit the Los Angeles Rams' soft middle of their defense, he's going to look for Rob Gronkowski a lot in this game. And if the Hall of Fame duo can replicate the success they've had in so many postseasons before it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be looking to host an NFC Championship game if the San Francisco 49ers can help them with an upset win over Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. For more on this game, the NFL playoffs, and everything Tampa Bay Buccaneers, check out my co-host James Yarko and I on the Locked On Bucs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's a wrap for us. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every day. For more on the National Football League and your team, make sure you check out Locked On NFL and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens, and this has been Locked On Now.